Today, we are taking in deep breath, completely unbiased look at what is arguable the largest industrial transformation in modern history, the electrical vehicle revolution. Over the last decade, we have been presented with a very specific vision of future. Governments around the globe have passed aggressive legislation to phase out internal combustion engines. Traditional automakers have poured hundreds of billions of dollars into retooling factories, and digital media has painted a picture of an inventable silent to emission utopia. We are told that electrical vehicles are cleaner, faster, cheaper to run, and technically superior into every conceivable way. Billions of drivers have already bought into this vision. Gas pumps are being traded for home charging docks, and the EV market share has skyrocketed in major economies. But as the initial wave of the early adopters passes, the EVs enter the mass market. The real world friction points are becoming impossible to ignore. Range anxiety, public charging reliability, grid capacity, battery degradation, and massive depreciation are turning what seems like a simple upgrade into a complex debate. Are electrical vehicles truly the flawless future we were promised? Or are we prematurely forcing a technology onto an infrastructure that simply isn't ready to support it? Today, we are going to deep into engineering, the economic, the supply chain, and daily reality of EV ownership to find out. This forced traditional legacy automakers, giants like Volkswagen, General Motors, Ford, and Toyota into a panic, realizing that were at risk of becoming modern Kodak or Nokia. They rushed to announce ambitious electrification targets, but transitioning an industry built on precious internal combustion engineering over 1,000 years to software-defined battery electric vehicle is far more complex than just swapping an engine for a motor. While looking strictly at mechanical efficiency, electric vehicle win by an overwhelming margin. This isn't a matter of opinion, it's fundamental physics thermodynamics. A modern internal combustion engine is a marvel of engineering. It is fundamentally inefficient. When you burn gasoline or diesel, roughly 70 to 80% of potential thermal energy is lost as waste heat, sound, and friction. Only about 20 to 30% of the energy storage in your fuel tank actually makes it to the wells to push the vehicle forward. You're essentially driving a mobile furnace that produces propulsion as a byproduct. An electric drivetrain completely flips this equation. High efficiency electric motors, whether permanent magnet, synchronous, or induction design, convert over 85 to 90% of the electrical energy storage in your battery directly into kinetic motion. There are far fewer moving parts, no complex multi-speed transmission, no drive shafts running to length of the vehicle, no exhaust system, no fuel pumps, and no timing belts. Furthermore, electric motors produce maximum torque instantly from the 0 RPM. This delivers that signature instantaneous throttle response that makes even entire level EVs feel remarkable quick off the line. Additionally, raw regenerative braking and EV can recapture kinetic energy when slowing down, feeding electricity back into the battery pack rather than wasting that energy as brake pad heat and dust. On paper, mechanically and aerodynamically, the electric motor is an undisputed victory. If electric motors are so superior, why hasn't the entire world converted overnight? The answer lies entirely in the energy storage medium, the battery pack. Lithium hydrocarbons like gasoline contain immense amount of energy relative to their weight and volume. A standard tank of fuel weighing about 40 kilograms holds enough energy to drive car 600 kilometers. To store that the same amount of usable energy in an electric vehicle, you need a lithium-ion battery pack that weighs anywhere between 5,000 to 9,000 kilograms. This massive weight adds strain to tire suspension system and the road infrastructure while requiring even more energy just to move the heavy battery itself. Then comes the issue of chemistry and degradation. Batteries do not like the extreme heat, nor do they like extreme cold. Chemical reactions inside lithium ion cells slow down significantly in freezing temperature, leading to substantial real world range loss, sometimes up to 40 or 30% in severe winters. Moreover, every time an EV charger and discharger, microscopic physical and chemical changes occur within the cells. High voltage DC fast charging keeping the battery at 100% stage of charge or letting it drain completely to zero accelerates degradation over time. While modern thermal management systems have extended battery life significantly, replacing an out-of-warranty battery pack remains an essentially financial threat to second-hand overs. A replacement pack can cost anywhere from 5,000 to over 20,000, depending on a manufacturer, when a battery replacement costs more than a remaining market value of the car. The vehicle becomes functionally outdated. This raises a critical question about the long-term sustainability and resale viability of EVs in the secondary market. For EV ownership to be seamless, charging needs to be friction-free as visiting a traditional gas station. For homeowners with private driveways or garages who can install a level 2 charger to charge overnight at off-peak rates. The experience is deal. You wake up early morning with a full tank and daily commuting cost is significantly lower than gas. However, for apartments, dweller, street parker, long distance traveler and commercial drivers, the reality is starkly different. Public charging infrastructure across many parts of the world remains inconsistent, fragmented and unreliable. Non-Tesla network frequently suffer from broken stalls, payment processing failure, not software communication errors between the charger and the vehicle, and long queues during peak travel periods. Charging an EV on a road trip requires planning, buffer time, and degree of patience that the average consumer accustomed to be a 5 minute gas stop may not possess. Beyond the physical charging station, there is the broader challenger of power grid capacity. Simultaneously, fast charging thousands of high capacity EVs puts incredible localized strain on electrical substation and transformers. Transition an entire nations of fleet of vehicle to electricity will require massive multi-billion-dollar infrastructure investment in renewable energy generation, energy storage and grid distribution networks. Without smart grid technology and dynamic pricing to incentives of peak charging, high EV adoption risk overwhelming municipal energy grids during heat waves or peak winter months. One of the primary arguments for EVs environmental stewardship. While it is true that EVs have zero direct tailpipe emission, their life cycle environmental impact is more nuanced. Manufacturing an electric vehicle generates a significantly higher initial carbon footprint than manufacturing an internal combustion engine vehicle, largely due to the energy-intensive process of mining and refining battery raw material like lithium, cobalt, nickel, and manganese. An EV starts its life with a carbon depth, where the battery is manufactured and where the car is charged. Whether it relies on coal, natural gas, hydro, or nuclear power, it is typically takes between 20,000 to 60,000 kilometers of driving for an EV to offset that initial manufacturing depth on the become net clearer than a gas car. Furthermore, supply chain ethics and geopolitical concentration presents major risks. A vast majority of the world's battery refining capacity and raw material processing is concentrated in a single region, creating strategic supply chain vulnerabilities for Western automakers. Finally, modern EVs are moving toward software-defined architectures. While over-the-air updates can add features over time, they also allow manufacturers to lock feature behind subscription paywalls, collect vast amount of telematics, and personal driver data remotely limit vehicle capabilities. The car is no longer just a mechanical tool you own outright. It is becoming a digital software platform leased from the manufacturer. So where does this leave us? Are electric vehicles a revolutionary leap forward or the hype of distraction? The truth, as usual, sits squarely in the middle. Electric vehicles are not a silver bullet that will magically solve all transportation and environmental problems overnight, nor are they a useless gimmick. They are powerful, highly efficient technological evolution that excels brilliantly under the right conditions. For multi-car household, urban commuters with home charging access and fleet application. However, forcing a blanket transition without solving battery chemistry limitation, public charging reliability, grid constraints, and supply chain ethics risks creates new systemic problems. Technologies like solid-state battery, LFP chemistry improvements, smart charging grids, and hybrid setup will all play vital roles in bridging the gap over the next decade. What are your thoughts? Are you ready to make your new vehicle fully electric, or are you holding out until charging infrastructure and battery technology evolve further? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more deep dives, and I'll see you in the next one.